Potato is an underground stem that has buds known as eyes. These buds can grow into new plants. Onion and ginger to grow from the stem. Reproduction from leaves. Some plants reproduce from their leaves. The leaves of Bryophilism are thick and fleshy and also have many buds along their edges. New plants grow from these buds. Reproduction from leaf Bryophylium. Reproduction from roots. Sweet potato and carrot are roots that store food. When replanted, these roots grow into new plants. Let us understand through an activity which shows that carrot can reproduce from roots. Reproduction by spores. You know that certain plants do not have flowers and seeds. How do they reproduce? Some of them have special structures called spores that help in reproduction. If you look at the underside of a fern leaf, you will see many dark colored dots. These are called sori. The spores are produced in the sori. Fungi such as bread, mold, and mushrooms also reproduce by spores. Reproduction by spores fern.
Get it right. Ferns reproduce by producing spores, but the spores are not the seeds of ferns. A spore has a very simple structure as compared to a seed. It has made up of only one cell, whereas a seed is multicellular. Timeline. The non-flowering plants such as moss appeared on the earth before the flowering plants in between spore producing ferns appeared. Million years ago. Plants 440 mosses.
Reproduction in plants. From seeds, from stem, from leaves, from roots, from spores. Example, rose, hibiscus, sugarcane, from stem, from leaves. Example, Bryophylium, begonia. From roots. Example, sweet potato, carrot. From spores. Example, mushroom, fungi. Crops. Crops are plants that we cultivate in large quantities. They provide us food and raw materials to produce many other things such as cloth, medicine, and timber. The practice of growing large quantities of plants for food and other purposes is called agriculture. Rice is the most cultivated crop in our country. Track your progress. Kinds of crops. Crops are of different kinds. Food crops such as maize, rice, pulses, sugarcane, and wheat.
Fiber crops such as cotton, jute, flax and hemp. Oil producing crops such as canola, jatopa, mustard, sunflower and soya bean. In India, crops that are grown in the monsoon season are called kharif crops. Rice, jowar, bajra, jute, hemp, peanuts, maize and pulses are kharif crops. Vegetables such as spinach, brinjal, tomato, onion, pumpkin, garlic and gourd grow well in the monsoon season. Peach, lychee, mango, watermelon, muskmelon, plum and apricot are some fruits that grow best in monsoon. Remember, here is a trick for you to remember examples of kharif crops. Many kharif crops and with in their name rice, maize, sugarcane, pulse and jute. For others use JCB, just called big goose, jowar, cotton, bajra, groundnut. Crops that are grown in the winter season are called rabi crops. Wheat and gram are rabi crops. Radish, turnips, carrots, peas, mustard, cauliflower, cabbage and beans are some vegetables that grow well in water. Apples, oranges and pomegranates are fruits that are generally grown in their winter season. Healthy crops. Crops need proper care so that they can produce a better yield and more nutritional value. Here are some tips for growing healthy crops. Different crops are require different kinds of soil. For example, rice grows well in wet clay soil, but groundnut needs porous, sandy soil. Therefore, farmers decide the type of crop to be grown after evaluating the soil in their fields. Manure and fertilizers should be added regularly to the soil in sufficient quantities. This would make the soil fertile. Excessive use of fertilizers can harm the soil, so they should be used in the right amounts only.
Adequate water should be provided at the different stages for proper plant growth. Crops such as rice and sugarcane need lots of water, whereas wheat needs less water. The seeds sown should be mature and of good quality. Also, seeds should not be planted too close to each other or too deep in the soil. Crops should be sprayed with insecticides and pesticides to keep them free from pests, diseases and harmful animals. Extreme use of these chemicals can harm the people who consume these food crops. So farmers should use them in adequate quantity. Biopesticides are special type of pesticides which are biodegradable in nature and cause no harm to the environment. Such pesticides can be used by farmers wherever possible. Weeding, removal of unwanted plants should be done regularly. Know your scientist. Mangom Bu Shambasavan Swaminathan. He is known as the father of Green Revolution in India. A high-yield hybrid variety of wheat was introduced to increase the yield in the fields of poor farmers. He received the Padma Shri in 1967. Production of crops and storage of seeds. Crops gets disturbed due to birds, insects and pests such as rats and squirrels. Bad weather such as excessive rain. Diseases that can infect leaves, stem or roots. Grazing animals such as cows and goats. Crops therefore need to be protected from all of these. Grain should be stored in airtight containers after harvesting. This will prevent them from getting spoiled due to moisture and from rodents and birds as well. Fencing the fields can prevent grazing animals from entering them. Stages of agriculture. The field is plugged. Manure is added to the soil. Seeds are sown. The field is supplied with water. This is called irrigation. To protect the crops, they are sprayed with pesticides. The crops are then cut and gathered. This is called harvesting. After the crop is harvested, the grains are stored in granaries. Run through. Crops are plants that provide us food and raw materials to produce medicines and cloth. Crops that are grown in monsoon season are called kharif. Crops and crops that are grown in winter are called rabi crops. Crops should be sprayed with pesticides to keep them free from pests. Crops get destroyed due to birds, insects, grazing animals, and bad weather.
Track your progress. Name 2 rabi crops. Name 2 kharif crops. Name 2 grazing animals. Glossary. Cotyledons. Seed leaves that contain food for the baby plant. Crops. Plants that are grown in large quantities to provide food and other useful substances. Embryology. The baby plant. Germination. The process by which a seed develops into a baby plant in the presence of water, air and sunlight. Harvesting. To cut and gather the crop. Irrigation. Supplying crops with water. Kharif crops. Crops grown in the monsoon season. Rabi crops. Crops grown in the winter season. Seed coat. Thick covering a seed that protects the baby plant. Seed dispersal. The process by which seeds are scattered away from the parent plant.